Hey, what's going on, everybody? Noah from Cheeky Barbecue here. I am super excited to partner with the National Pork Board to bring you today's recipe, these amazingly delicious pork belly burnt ends. So today what we're doing is we are taking a slab of pork belly. We are going to cube it up into little, probably by 1 inch, 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch cubes. These get the name pork belly burnt ends after the type of burnt ends you would do from the point on a brisket. So super good. We're going to smoke them for a few hours after we put a dry rub on them. Smoke them for a few hours at 225 on the grill. Then we're going to throw them in a foil pan with some honey and some butter and some sauce, and we're going to let them kind of almost braise in that for another hour or two. What you get is an incredibly tender, delicious bite of little, pork goodness. So that's the plan today. Follow along, and hope you try this recipe. The cut that I'm using for this is going to be pork belly. And the reason why this works so great is because it's a pretty versatile cut. You can certainly do a myriad of things with pork belly. If you've never had pork belly before, if you've had bacon, you've had pork belly. This is the cut of pork that bacon comes from. So one thing that's a lot of fun to do is to take this cut. You can do your own homemade cure with it, and then you can cure it for 5 or 6 days, smoke it. You can make your own bacon with it. If you've ever had like lardons, kind of thicker cuts of little chunks of pork belly or bacon, and like mac and cheese and that kinds of thing, that's where you're going to get that from, is this cut, that pork belly cut. Pork is safe to eat at 145 degrees internal. That's as far as you have to take your pork to eat it. So if I was doing pork chops or a pork tenderloin or those kind of cuts, I'm going to cook them until about 140, 142 degrees, at which case I'm going to pull them off, let them rest. They carry over to 145. They're nice and juicy. It's a great cut. But with this kind of cook, similar to like the pork shoulder, we're actually going to run it way beyond the required temperature that we need to get, because this cut is just going to get so much more tender. trimmed off pretty much all the hard fat that's on the outside here. You don't have to be too particular with the trim on this. And then on the fat cap side, all I did is take the skin off. Ideally, you do it all in one piece. I got pretty close, not too bad. Just take some practice. I want to let all this fat stay on here, so you definitely just want to get that skin off. Now that I have this done, I'm gonna carve it up into those cubes. And there's a couple questions that I always get when we do this. People say, well, can you leave it whole and smoke it whole, season it, smoke it whole, and then cube it up later? There's a couple reasons why we cube it up now. One, what it does is it lets me get the seasoning that we're gonna use around the entire cut, the entire cube that we do, so it's just gonna impart more flavor on it. The other thing that it does is when we put it in the smoker, it's gonna put more smoke around that entire cube as opposed to if we were to smoke this whole. So if I'm doing bacon, if we cured our own bacon or something like that, I'm gonna leave it whole to smoke. But for this case, for these pork belly burnt ends, the little pig candy, little delicious morsels of goodness, we're gonna cube them up first, season it, throw them on the smoker, get a lot of smoke around the entire cut. So come on in here and I will show you how we are gonna do that. So I'm gonna find a spot probably about here and I'm gonna make a score. It makes it a little bit easier, and then I'll go through and finish my cut. You can see that looks a lot like bacon, so if you're not familiar with the cut, you can definitely kind of recognize that there. Now I'm here, that's about an inch or so. Make a score, get in there and do that. So we're going to do that through the rest of the cut here. Alright, last one here. Okay, so now that we've got this cubed up, I should say this slab that we used here is about 3.5 pounds, just to kind of give you an idea of the yield from that. Today we are using one of my favorite rubs. This is from Reload Rubs and Seasoning. This is their double action. It's delicious, sweet and smoky barbecue blend. It's gonna go perfect with this pork. So we're gonna use this seasoning today. I'm gonna season these up. I'm gonna put them on the rack here. This rack is gonna go on the grill. You can absolutely put these directly on the grill if you would prefer. I just find it easier to put them on the rack, and that way I can put them on and take them off just in one motion, since they're all on the rack together. Pork belly's all seasoned, cubed up, ready to go. Grill's preheated to 225. Now it's time for us to throw these on here. Pork belly's been going for about 3 hours now. The color looks amazing. Come in, let's get a closer look. I'll show you guys what these look like. Now it's time to pull these off. We're gonna throw some other ingredients in here, throw them in a foil pan, cover that up, put it back on. So let's get these off the smoker. So this color is exactly what we're looking for. They went for about 3 hours at 225 inside the smoker. That's a perfect temperature. I used post oak wood chunks. You could certainly use like apple or cherry or something like that. Goes great with pork. Those are awesome smoking options. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw them in this foil pan. I'm gonna add some other little goodness here. So this sauce is from Southbound Barbecue. It is their Southern Sweet Heat. I love with pork, a little blend of sweet and a little blend of heat. It goes perfect. So this sauce is gonna be great. We're gonna add a little bit more of the Reload Double Action. I'm gonna add a little bit of Mike's Hot Honey in there. Again, it's that perfect sweet heat combination. And then we're gonna throw some butter in there. We're gonna cover this with foil, put it back on the smoker for about an hour or so. Pork belly's been in the foil pan, wrapped with all that goodness that we added to it for an hour and a half. That's gonna be plenty of time to make sure it's super tender. So now we're gonna pull it off and check it out. This smells absolutely amazing. These are incredibly tender. Time to take a bite here. Man, it hits you with the smokiness, the sweetness, just a little bit of heat, which is amazing. Man, these are so good. I cannot recommend going to your store, finding some pork belly, cooking these up. This is absolutely delicious. I might eat all these myself. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, love it if you would subscribe or follow along for more content. And I hope you have a great day. Go make some pork belly burn ends. You will not regret it. Thanks.